because there are a lot of microphones here. So we are going to be trying to find our way into what our leaders have asked us to speak to you about today.
Everybody pause for the leopard. Nobody touch him, no pause on the leopard. Nobody trust him cause he's friends with the serpent. The way his stripes are looking, no fl.
Alright, okay. Good morning and welcome to the musings of the madman. I am your host, the last operator of the universe. So I did discuss the differences between karate fighting and these full contact kickboxing / MMA type of fighting styles. The camera was off for some reason. I didn't restart recording, but I finished the entire talk without you guys, so yeah, the rest just leave it up to your imagination. Okay, let me try and rehash this much clearer than I did the first time. The question of whether or not you should do, a traditional martial art like karate or a more sport-like martial art, MMA, Muay Thai, these kind of things. Now, normally when somebody asks me this question, I usually try to dance around the issue, because honestly, to tell you the truth, which one is better, I grew up on traditional style martial arts. This is what I grew up watching kung fu movies and just picturing myself as a kung fu martial artist or whatever. So I tell you it's karate, I tell you it's traditional martial art, simply because of the way I was trained. I feel like I was given better training than I could have possibly gotten if I had started out doing MMA or kickboxing. Because now that I have those traditional martial art styles, traditional martial art skills, I can adapt them to the kickboxing that I'm doing now. So for a bit of background, let's say I started karate when I was in grade 10. So I was like, this was 2011. That's when I started karate. Yeah, I started karate in 2011, and I trained all the way up to my 12th grade. Excuse me. This was 2013. So I trained for about 2 years, and then I quit in 2013. And by the time I came back, my skills had waned and everything, but I was more enthusiastic, When I came back about, I think it was 4 years later in 2017, when I came back to karate in 2017, I was ready to be the best fighter. I wanted to be the best martial arts there ever was, I had the dream that every person training in fighting should have, the dream that everybody that's just competitive naturally should have, to be the best, and I was training myself to be the best. Every day I was improving what I was doing. It took me I came back in 2016, so it took me about a year of that serious training to become a black belt. Black belt is the highest possible, I don't want to say level, because when you say level, people assume that you achieve it and then, wow, once you become a black belt, you're the one, you've mastered all and done all in karate. So to tell you, the black belt is a test. Simple as that. You pass it and you can move on to the next test. There are more tests after that. But passing the test does not mean that you are capable. It's not the only thing. The test sort of feels you out and tests to see whether or not you know what you're doing and you can handle yourself in a real fight. But it's just that. It's just a test. If a person were to take it regularly, I guarantee you that black belt can fail it the next time or the fourth time or the fifth time. If you were forced to redo it over and over again, essentially, you would not perform as well. And that's why I want to say it's a test, because somebody could have gotten their black belt and then years later they take the same test and they would fucking they would fail it. They would fail it horribly simply because of the way they maintain their fitness after getting a black belt, because of the way they view martial arts after getting a black belt. And I've had this argument about whether or not you should use traditional karate or MMA / kickboxing for fighting. You know, which one do you use to get better? Which one do you use to be the best? And most people would go with kickboxing / MMA because that teaches you how to punch people in the face, teaches you how to take a punch to the face, teaches you how to kick, punch, and everything. You know, it sort of equips you all around with a healthy amount of skills that don't involve all that extra knowledge that comes with things like traditional martial arts. In traditional martial arts, there's a system. You know, it's more formal. Even when you're learning how to fight, there's a flow to it. There's the other guy knows what you're gonna do. You know what you're gonna do. It's sort of planned out. You know, you have breaks. You have, for instance, when you have the sport fighting of karate, which is called kumite. Yeah, let me just break it down for you guys. So in karate, you have two styles, or not two styles, but you have two modes of training. There's the sport training and the traditional training. When I say karate, I mean the traditional training. The sport training has a component of it where you have fighting. You know, you have people put on gloves, they wear shin guards, and they spar. That is not fighting. That is playing. Okay, you're not being taught how to be a good fighter. You're being taught how to be a good competitor when you do that kind of sport training. Kumite. When you do traditional parts of karate, right? Your traditional parts of karate is where you're taught how to focus power. You're taught how to use speed, reaction. You're taught how to basically be a fighter, essentially. And that is the one thing that I say that has an advantage over all the other styles. Because when you're doing traditional karate training, your hands are designed to be a weapon. You know, you can strike someone like this with an open hand. You know, knife hand strike. You can punch them, just like you have in your kickboxing and your MMA. You can use a back fist. You can use your palm. You know, you can grab the guy. There's a lot more fluidity when it comes to rendori, which is the traditional training of karate. But the one thing it doesn't have is you cannot punch to the face when it comes to traditional karate sparring. You can kick to the face. You can knee to the face. You can use takedowns. You can use arm bars if it lasts long enough. I mean, if it's short enough, you know. So no choke holds, no prolonged grappling. But it's the closest thing you have to fighting. You know, the only one weakness that it has is that rule about no punching to the face. If we were taught how to punch to the face, we would be just as well equipped. I think we'd be better equipped than the ones you find in the sport community of kickboxing and MMA. So I hope that was clear enough. You know, in karate we have sport training and then we have traditional training. Sport training is not fighting. Sport training, if you're good at sport training, do not consider yourself a good fighter just because. You know, we don't know how well you can handle pressure. We don't know how well you can handle being punched in the face. Then you have your traditional karate. Traditional makes you a good fighter, but again, we don't know how you handle a punch to the face. We know you can protect yourself against kicks and knees and everything, but we don't know if you can handle being tagged in the face and then continue. And we move that away and move on to the kickboxing / MMA scene. I've been doing kickboxing / MMA for about 3 years now, on and off, you know, because I alternate. I'm still doing karate on the side, so I still do kickboxing every now and then. So when I do kickboxing, the one thing that I noticed about kickboxing is it's a wasteful art. on some things. The way you move essentially is a problem I have with the kickboxing slash MMA. You don't have to be a good fighter to win a fight in kickboxing slash MMA. You just have to be, more aggressive, more surprising, a lot more things are involved in there. When it comes to skill, technical skill, I feel like even a skilled kickboxer would lose to a beginner, an amateur kickboxer who just pushes himself over and over again. Somebody who just knows who has higher endurance, or rather, let me just. I don't even know how to explain. How did I explain this the first time? Well, kickboxing. Kickboxers do not know the right way to punch, or rather, they can't punch someone bare knuckled like we're taught in karate. In kickboxing, you're taught to punch with a glove, and the glove is just a tool. But the way we use it, it's just a blunt force instrument. We don't even think about it. In kickboxing, it's more clinical. There are certain things you can do. You don't have as much freedom as you do in traditional training of karate. But like I said, in kickboxing, you're taught how to take a punch to the face. You're taught how to defend against a punch to the face. You're taught how to react to someone punching you in the face. You're taught how to sort of endure pain and overcome fear, which is the only thing that makes an amateur from professional in kickboxing training. Mind you, there are no belts or whatever, but I feel like that's the one thing that makes differentiates a professional from an amateur in kickboxing, because these guys are designed. They're designed to take pain, but once fear sets in, right? When you're learning the things in kickboxing and MMA, you feel like when you do the drills, you feel like you're learning something. You feel like you're becoming a competent fighter. But until you're put in the ring against somebody, or you spar somebody, you won't really know, right? And once you start sparring, the one thing that sets in is the fear of getting hit, the fear of losing, just the fear of pain. That's the one thing that makes someone lose confidence in their skills as an MMA slash kickboxer. Okay? And yeah, let's get back to the question. The question, which one is better, right? When you compare them at the short term, 6 months, a 6 months karate fighter versus a 6 months kickboxer slash MMA, the guy in MMA or kickboxing will learn more. His growth curve will be much higher. Rather, his growth will be much better than the guy who's doing karate for 6 months. The guy who's doing karate for 6 months barely knows anything. He's essentially still a beginner. The guy in six months of MMA slash kickboxing, he's a fighter. You can put him in the ring. He might not be the best, but he's getting there. Then we do the same thing on about 3 years or 4 years. The guy doing 4 years of karate versus the guy who has been doing 4 years of kickboxing slash MMA. Now, for the 4 years of karate, I mean somebody who's consistent and who maintains their form. Who's just on top of things. They've been training regularly. They're not slacking off. Anyways, a comparison, right? The karateka would be, I would say, the karateka would be the better fighter. He has learned more, acquired more, and is a better fighter for it. The kickboxer has not improved much from their 6 month period. The kickboxer slash MMA fighter is more or less the same fighter he was about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So now it's just about maintaining his peak. In karate, you're still getting better. The other comparison I'd like to make. So I hope that was clear. In long term, you learn more from karate rather than kickboxing. In long term, you're a better fighter in karate rather than kickboxing. That's if you stick with it. In short term, if you want quick and immediate progress, do kickboxing slash MMA. You'll feel it, you'll see it, and it'll be present in your confidence and everything you do. For karate, 6 months will not be enough to make you a better martial artist. You need more. You need more experience, essentially. Yeah, so for long-term karate, I'd say all the way. Short-term, MMA/kickboxing. The final comparison I'd like to make is somebody who has quit doing these martial arts. Somebody who's quit doing karate, somebody who's quit doing kickboxing/MMA. Skill-wise, I'd say the guy who's been doing kickboxing/MMA after quitting for a few years or so, he's still more or less a dangerous fighter. You still don't want to meet this guy on the street or in a dark corridor all by yourself. And whatever, it's war. Let's assume that this guy has quit karate. This guy's quit MMA/kickboxing 2 years ago. I'd say he's still 60% of the fighter he was at his peak. When it comes to karate, 2 years of no karate, he's not exactly the same. He's not as dangerous as he was before. The skills wane. If he has not been keeping up his training, he will be weaker, significantly weaker. I feel like karate is more about the mental than just the physical. It's not just punching and kicking. You need to sort of make it a part of who you are. You need to train your body to do these things, and it needs to be able to obey you appropriately. And you cannot do that. You can't do that every now and then. It needs to be a conscious effort. So karate requires maintenance, while things like kickboxing and MMA, not so much. Anyways, I hope this was clear and concise. This has been the musings of a madman, and I'm telling you that karate is the one to use. Learn karate, but learn it the right way. Learn it with the intention of being the best you can be, the best fighter in the world. Be curious about everything that's going on. Be curious about being the best. And yeah, peace.